The first thing we want to do is to shape the button, get that correct. So I'm going to clean that top surface over here. I think you can see how dirty this gets, how quickly. So this is that sort of angle. And then, I think that's the right one. We're going to round over this edge here. And come up this way. So here's the button. Actually quite proud of the hat, so I'm going to take wood around here. Now I've got the button in place, that's my reference point. I can see mine's a little bit bigger than this one, doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do now is switch to smaller tools, meaning 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch and less, this sort of size tools, and very carefully start looking at this and matching this much more subtly. So so here, for example, this now, as I come and carve this, is going to be a finished surface. So I'm going to make small cuts and just quietly work that surface, remove those lines. So that surface there, that's the end of that, that's going to be that ridge there on the hat, and then I'm going to come down and start bringing those shapes in. So where there's a shape like this, I'm going to try and match the gouge to it. Otherwise I'm going to use fairly flattish gouges, small gouges, like this one, just quietly taking small cuts, and this leaves a surface texture, and that surface texture is a little bit like cotton when it's seen from a distance. So just quietly moving along, what I call giving the carving some love, you know, sort of really enjoying this stage, making sure this surface is nice and smooth. This is going to be finished when we leave it. Making sure that everything's in the right place, merging. So we'll start here and we'll slowly spread over the rest of the carving. So I've been carving on this piece for about 3 hours now. Coming along, I think, quite happily. As I've worked the surfaces, what's going to be happening is I come to points where the curve is too much to get a straight tool in, and it's at this point I need to find a bent tool. This is quite a large one, rather quite a wide one, but you can use a narrower one and just make smaller cuts, exactly the same sort of cut as before. And coming round, and look, you can see that this curve really doesn't quite do this one, in which case it doesn't really matter, because I can go back and clean up the bottom of that curve here. So move these shapes right round into the curve, and make sure as best you can you clean up as you go along. You can follow these curves round into deep recesses like here and here, and just keep going round, feeling away into the various shapes, and don't be afraid of going deep. You'll find the hat is actually quite pushed in places, so you will need to do that with your carving. And around the back here, I've kept the undercutting going, and I've allowed for a lump here that's going to be the strap. We will deal with this separately. So. When you've gone round the whole of the hat, smoothing off the surface. Don't worry about facets, but make sure they're clean and don't make them too big. So like gentle facets. Oh, here's a bit I still have to do. When you've done that, change the lighting so that you'll see things from a different, with the different shadows and lights. So you can go over it one more time very lightly, just checking surfaces, making sure they're clean, nothing torn, nothing obviously big facet, that sort of thing. So change the lighting, and then with that the surface is done and we're left with putting on our seams.